All right, guys. Listen up. I wanted to give a update for the community. Listen, we're talking about SPY, the Nasdaq, right? And a couple of tickers that I gave out that I'm confident on, all right, like Marvell, right? LAC, all right? A couple of commentary about that. But we're gonna focus on SPY, right? And the Nasdaq. Listen. You see the structure here, right? And we talked about these pullbacks, these legs, right? And we have right here on the hour time frame, as you can see, these three-legged pullbacks, all right? These three-legged pullbacks, sometimes 50 to 60% chance, right, turns into what they call a slingshot reversal. That's right, a slingshot reversal. So you get that move down, right? Right, and you get the double bottom, right, and you get that pressure towards the upside. Okay, and this is what happens sometimes. Okay, hitting the previous range, opening and close on a daily, right? The high and the low, right? And you get these moves to the upside, all right? That's what I want to stress to you, that we could get that slingshot reversal. Now, in a variation, also, you can see the Nasdaq, all right? The Nasdaq, I'm telling you, these setups, I got about three or four setups, maybe more, maybe less, for the Nasdaq and the SPY for you guys to understand these setups, all right? This is exclusive, something I never give away, all right? Instead of for the mentees that come and take on the mentorship, all right? Before it happens, I want you to see before it happens and what could happen. So this is what we're doing here. Now, I tell you, the Nasdaq, mwah, sweet. Beautiful move here, all right? Slingshot reversal, the same way we got this two-legged pullback, but we have these massive legs down, all right? And we are oversold here, right? Now, I don't like using indicators, as you can see. Really, I like price action and market structure, but there are variations to that, all right? I do like the 21 EMA and the Bollinger Bands to give you context, but when you really truly understand the nature of price action, you're able to attack it a certain way. Now, let's get into the meat of this. We're going to get back to SPY, all right? Because I know you guys are juiced up and ready, and this is what I mean, all right? Right now, as of the time of this recording, it's 8:37 a.m. All right, less than an hour before the market opens. OPEX Friday, and this is the scenario. This is the setup. All right, what you want to look for, right? The number one scenario that I'm talking about right now. All right, the first scenario that I want to talk about is here, right? What you want to do is, okay, because I know I want to respect the bears. I'm not ready to give up on the bulls, but you got to respect the bears momentum right here, okay? So this is one of the first scenarios you want to think about. And what we're going to do is, I want you to imagine this, okay? Imagine the bears, right? This thing, let's say we go back up, right, to retest here, all right? But the bears want to come back to retest these lows here, right? To come back to retest these lows, all right? That's what you got to be thinking about. That's one scenario, all right? Just respecting the bears, all right? Now, I'm not ready to call this a bear market just yet. No, this is the bull market. I'm sorry, I'm just not ready, all right? Because this slingshot reversal, these scenarios can come in different variations, which is why I say 1 or 2 or 3 scenarios, all right? So this is just a scenario, retesting these lows, all right? Trying to come here, and what you'll see is you see these previous ranges, and ranges act like magnets. All right, this is a previous range, all right? And so price could retest here because ranges act like magnets, all right? And you have these breakout pullbacks, okay? You have to just find these areas. Has that happened yet? No, it hasn't, okay? And so that's what I want to talk about. I want to go into the second scenario, okay? Let's go into the second scenario. This is what you want to think about, okay? Now, as I talk about this, remember, the Nasdaq, the QQQ is also going to be one of those stocks that's looking similar to this, all right? It's just more juice, all right? So this is the second scenario, all right? These setups and these entry patterns, don't worry. These are the ones you want to think about. Okay, so make sure you guys can see the screen here. Bear with me as I navigate the screen. Okay, all right, now listen. What you want to see is, okay, you want to try to get this move here, okay, all right? You want to try to get this move here, all right? And what you have is a parallel channel that you grab from the lows to this previous low here on this candle, all right? All right, and you want to get that hidden channel here, okay? This hidden channel, a lot of people don't know how to do this, right? Hidden channel, okay? All right, now this green line is our hypothetical price action. And what you want to notice is, right, now when the people chase it, let's say we get that big move up, all right, what you want to do is you want to look for previous ranges, areas of interest on the pullback, all right? Now that could be here, all right? That could be there. You understand what I'm saying? all right? It could be there, all right? But you want to look for the perfect pullback inside of the daily price movement range, all right? This green light, yellow light, red light, a stop light, a traffic light, you understand? Green light, red light, green light, yellow light, red light. This represents the daily low on the daily current candle. This represents the mid-range of the daily candle, and this represents the high, the resistance area, where we have topped out previously of the previous day, all right? And this is what you want to see, these pullbacks into these areas, all right? The sweet spot, all right? These are the best entries for calls on a trending momentum market. You understand what I'm saying, all right? That is the second scenario. I hope you guys are following. And just to quickly recap, all right, some of my best trades, all right, the first scenario that I gave you, just to recap, all right, let's say that, we get that move up, like you see continuation, all right, but like I said, I respect the bears, all right, I respect that momentum, this three-legged pullback, but I've been doing this for a while. These turn into slingshot reversals, all right, and it ends up being very, very aggressive rallies towards the upside. But if we come up here respecting the bears with the momentum, right, and they want to retest these lows, okay, you got the scenario where you have a higher low being created, right, which would be a two-try failure, a W shape, all right. No matter how pretty or ugly you look for those double higher low bottoms, all right, whether it's parallel to each other or a little bit higher, okay, and that's the shape you see here, and continuation, all right. Your entry will be here. This is your most optimal entry. Okay, there's a neckline, which will be a open range breakout. People look for that trade right by the volume point of control, all right? And then price starts shooting up around 662 for 662 calls, and we end up rallying when everybody's surprised and we hit 670 on a Friday, all right? I wanted to give you guys those scenarios. Now, let's do the third one, the last one. This is the final one. Hope you guys are paying attention, all right? If you're liking this video, all right, give me some commentary, down in it below, whatever. Let me know how you feel about these. The commentary and the engagement really would be helpful, the feedback, so that we can make these videos more optimal for you guys, all right? So for our last and final, all right, scenario, all right, we're going to talk about this, okay? Now, right, we got to show some love to the bears as well, okay? Like I said, we want to respect them. Now, let's say we get that move up, all right? It's all about scenarios. You got to understand it's about scenarios, understanding the setups, the entries, all right? It's about scenarios. So let's say we get this big move up here, all right? And we form what they call a crown reversal. Now, it's not a double top. Now, listen, it happened here already, okay? So you got to understand and respect the territory here, all right, for some profit taking. So let's say we get up here and we want to trap in the bears. Well, this is the way we would do it. Let them try once, let them try twice on the technical bear, right? Once price pops back up here and fails to make these new highs and to breach this midway point here, all right? Breakout pullback and an entry, all right? To retest these lows again, okay? This is what you want to see, all right? And I want you guys to understand that this is the way to think, all right? Entry day, this could be on data. We do have some data, and so all of this is very plausible. It's very, very plausible, and I don't want you to ever forget that. Don't forget that we have some economic data coming out, and you want to understand what time that comes out, so you can either watch or stay clear or trade that volatility, because day traders understand that volatility is what matters. So when I show you this data, we're gonna wrap it up here Friday. All right, we already have the 8:30 data that came out, and the market is looking bullish right now as we speak. And at 9 o'clock we have Fed member Barker speaking. 10 o'clock we have the consumer sentiment, and 1 o'clock we have more speakers. So it's going to be an interesting day today. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. All right, and I'll catch back up with you guys on the next one. All right, peace.